And we are back. Oh boy, okay, we're doing JoJo poses. Welcome back to the desk. At this moment, you're about to jump into Champion Select. We're just waiting to see if everybody's from Dusty this time arrives in time. Also, Aatrox was open, not picked. Is anyone
Don't need
surprised?
him,
Is
mate.
it only me?
Don't need him, mate. He'll do it with anything. All right. He's gonna pick Yumi
Aatrox
next
is a
game.
good champion. Aatrox is a better champion, and Aatrox is an even better champion.
True. Factual statement. I agree with everything my esteemed analyst co-host said.
Thank you, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And when we look into Champion Select, is there any champions we should see banned from previous? I'm shocked, but from previous display.
I mean, if you want to try to ban out them Voxner, you could, but ultimately, I don't see any ban there on the side of Hydras that could really have too much of a demonstrable effect on this game. I don't think it's going to come down to these kind of draft things. I think it's going to come down to execution. For me, it wasn't a difference in champions. It was about the fact that Dusty was so heavily committed to playing every wave on every side, whereas you had on the side of Hydras a lot of overgrouping that caused them to slowly get this economic and experience lead, right? And it is the experienced team of Dusty showing that they're able to play these big concepts that's able to help them win the game. Hydras, they had the kill advantage, they lost the economic advantage, but they can get that back with better play. I don't think there was anything in the draft really that I think they could have changed to help.
So far, it's the same, but it's Dusty taking away the Emmerdinger. We all know, as a melee champion in the mid lane, you don't want to face that. It's atrocious and painful, and Emmerdinger is gone. Yasuo as well. Amumu is going to join the fray of the ban. Only last one, which means all the power picks are still available. This is going to be an overloaded draft, if I may say.
I mean, the two ways to think about this is either a lot of respect coming out towards Selfway with the Amumu ban, or it's an acceptance by Dusty that they do like to do their like Juggernaut, their compositions that kind of get a bit punished if they close the gap with you, and they want to close that gap, right? And the Mumu makes that untenable. Heimerdinger Athletic made that untenable, so they remove these potential issues. It's a first pick grade. You don't reveal very much about it, except that you are very confident that you can play through Linker's lanes, and by doing jungle first, you also allow your blue side lanes to get more potential counter picks than they otherwise would have been able to, and thus set up a good map state for Graves to play around.
Okay, so first pick is going to be the Gravesdown Jake, the usual for Linces. We know he likes that champion a lot, the way you can just pilot in the jungle. We're starting to build the Wombo combo. We've seen this before, so this is Hydras in the fullest. Let's see what else they can pair it with. Don't Jake, you're expecting any of those power picks, the usual method picks, to be picked by Hydra? I mean, Maokai could be a bit.
I think you could take Maokai here. You could just pair up the MF with the Amumu if you wanted to. That kind of fits in the Wombo style that I think they like to play. Veterans making a face. Oh, it's banned.
I just went on a mini speech about that.
Blitzcrank without seeing anything on the other side.
That could be Blitz jungle.
It would have been a fantastic counter pick to the Fresh in the last game. But to just straight up blind it here, are they saying we don't think Sten can play any decent Enchanter pairing? We don't think they can position properly around it? I mean, it's
But Jake said it. This could be Jungle Blitz.
It could be Jungle Blitz. We've been seeing a lot more.
Yeah.
I think it's picked up. I'm not sure if it's on this patch that it's like come into full prominence, but I know that it picked up a nerf in the support role in the most recent patch. Not this one that we're playing on.
The live one, yeah. That is not live where we are, but he was buffed for the jungle as it stands.
Oh my god, it is.
There you
Told you.
The cow joins. We have a cat, we have a cow, and we have a robot. The jungle, apparently. It could go.
Sounds like the setup of a really bad joke.
It is. And if it is a joke, you know it. So I'm going to leave it at that. Salas is going to be taken away on the second phase of bans. Let's see where Dusty are going to be concentrated. On one side, it seems to be taking away the opportunity to steal away a few ultimates or even tackle down backland. On Dusty, what do they want to tackle? Probably the jungle should be not the jungle at the top.
LeBlanc ban is what I'm expecting next if they're planning to go mid. Also, just remove all of Backlund's very safe champions. If this guy's allowed to go LeBlanc, that would be an issue. They're fine with the LeBlanc. I have to assume there's a counter pick for them. Maybe they're considering the Veigar, given the Graves, given the Yuumi, and given the possible presence of the LeBlanc. That would also pair really well with the double. Here's the thing though, right, Don Jake? You have the double displacement going on here. You have such a specific level of control over the Veigar cage, right? There's almost no way that you can't land the stun, not because of the lockdown, but because once you throw the cage out on top of anyone, Blitz knocks them in, Alistar knocks them in, right? And Alistar in the laning phase into the Civ and the Yuumi obviously can knock down the Yuumi on detach, but can get around the spell shield of the Civ by doing QW combo. You block the Q, but you've interrupted it for the knockup. So actually quite a good pairing here, and they are going to counter pick mid with the Ornn locked into top side. Interesting to see what Dusty will respond with against that.
100%, and I feel as if the composition that Dusty have drafted so far, you've got a lot of lockdown on Hydras, and you can't quite pull a Boris Johnson and ignore lockdown.
So, Aatrox would be an interesting one, but they do like a lot of magical damage. Well, you have the Yuumi, so we know what she's capable of, but you're going to pair it with the Mordekaiser. Yet again, an opportunity to steal away something big. Ornn brings the ultimate. Well, the ultimate is not going anywhere. All those things, and Kerberos is really good at piloting that one. To wrap it up, Backlund looking into the Akali. We know what he's capable of doing. And there you go, another assassin. So this is a dangerous draft coming in from Dusty. What can Hydras finish their own? Because in the mid lane versus the Akali, what do you bring?
I think Veigar's the most likely option.
Veigar's banned.
Banned, yeah. Oh, he did no you.
I think had.
You pulled a Don Jake. You pulled a Don Jake.
I pulled a Donny Don Don. I pulled a Donald Jacobs, but this is a viable option into everything that they have there. The Cassiopeia we haven't seen for a long while. She has good setup here. Her slows themselves can set up a pretty big combo from her team. Yeah, I like this. This could be very, very strong. The Petrifying Gaze obviously could do very good work against them, and Yuumi struggles to function in these fights if she's detaching on top of the Miasma. So, very interesting pick. Very solid combo. I'm really interested to see how the Blitzcrank goes. I actually haven't seen this yet. First I've heard of it was literally Don Jake saying it, so that's the first from me there.
Basically, what's happened with it is there's been a buff to the W whereby you actually auto-attack and you can actually take a lot of these 1v1 skirmishes and you clear camps a lot quicker. So look towards, you're not going to go for a full clear, you're probably going for like a red, gromp, blue kind of path. Look to cheese bot lane. It'll be a bit difficult into the spell shield. I'd imagine they're not very happy with how that matchup's gone. You can't really path top easily either. So look towards early wave state bot lane. That's your focal point around the level 3 mark for this Blitzcrank to get online on the map. I've just been serious for the first time today.
I'm really proud. I'm really proud of you. So give me predictions, Don Jake, and you can beat Don Jake again.
So I think Dusty probably takes this 2-0 because I think there's a lot of variance in Hydra's composition. I like what they brought out. I feel like if you're gonna go out in style, go out looking sexy. They look very sexy with the Blitzcrank jungle. But I don't think it's gonna be enough. I think there's just too much of what I like to see from Dusty. Too much of a staple in a lot of their picks. Yeah, hard to come against it.
So Dusty for the 2-0 veteran, you agree with Don Jake?
Dusty have no mobility, no range, no hard crowd control, no way to lock down their opponents, and no way to possibly lose this game. They're going to prove to the Hydras who the real titans of the NLC are and take this cleanly 2-0.
You got me there. I almost thought for a second you were going the other way, but there you go. To Dusty 2-0. That's what the desk is saying. And it's time to toss it to the casters one more time. And straight to game. Apparently, we're not missing a beat. Go for the bird's eye view of the Seventh Rift. Take it away, boys.
We don't have a beat to miss as we spawn onto the Rift. Hydras know that they have to go full throttle. Let's see if they can manage to temper themselves at the right moment, like a veteran so correctly pointed out. The Blitz being zoomed in on, it is going to be a huge factor in the game. Is this champ going to give Hydras the momentum that they need?
You know, I really hope so. I asked for a Blitzcrank jungle, I will say, for the last 2-3 casts that I've been on. When E-Universe were covering the group stage games, I mentioned it there that I would love to see a Blitzcrank jungle, and Hydras must have heard those whispers, heard the demands, and they've met them. I can't complain at all. I do worry though, and I think that Don Jake brought up some really valid points about how this Blitz is going to look to try and interact. You're looking at the clear, obviously starting on this top side. He doesn't want to path toward the top side. You don't want to be trying to fight a Mordekaiser too early. You also are looking at this bot lane, and a spell shield for the Blitzcrank in particular is pretty difficult. But if you can find an early engage from Selfway, there's a real opportunity for this bot side to get an advantage with the Blitzcrank gank. And to touch on some of those changes whilst we've got the time, the Blitzcrank, of course, got a lot of buffs to his jungle clear. Obviously, the W increased, the E as well does a ton of damage now to single target camps just when you're using it. But also his ultimate got changed. And I think that this is one of those hidden buffs that are actually really important, because he now just constantly gets the static field proc if his ultimate is not on cooldown. So if he has his ultimate ready, he can just keep auto-attacking, and that static field keeps applying. And obviously with a lot more auto-attack speed, you get a lot more procs of that static field. You want to use the ulti now more of an execute than anything else.
We'll see how much time Panda has gotten with this champion, see how proficient he will be, and of course, then Voxne is going to be a clear target throughout the game.
I also do think one of the main concerns I have with the Hydra's composition is their damage. I'm looking at this and I think that Misfortune, you know, great for a team fight, great for an ultimate, but it is largely on Colonel, all on this Cassio, to be that consistent DPS, and when Dusty have got a lot of tools to take her down.
Oh my, what the first blood! I was waiting
shocked.
for the play to not come to complete fruition. But I feel like you just cursed leaving Jesus out of Dusty. Of course, 1-for-1 will turn up, but still, first blood for Colonel. He gets to return to lane with more gold and maybe take even more control of the mid lane.
Ooh, okay. A little bit of ego there from the Voxne as well. I mean, he's level 2, so doesn't have the spell shield to opt into that, but not flashing on that cooldown was, you know, great faith in his ability to dodge out on that rocket grab. And, you know, just as you mentioned, right, a little bit of a curse for the mid lane of Dusty, saying that they've got some great tools to kill this Cassiopeia, but all of these prerequisites that Cassiopeia likes to meet for the team fights are actually there. The fact that everybody on Dusty is short range, that they don't really have any hard CC to lock her down, actually a really good setup for Colonel to be the late game DPS that Hydras are desperately going to need.
And with the Prio bot, with the Prio mid, Panda just saunters into the jungle, steals the red buff away. And I gotta say, even though Panda's already been on a little bit of a gank train bot lane, he's looking like he's making it difficult for Dusty to move with full confidence in the side of the map that he's on.
Yeah, and you can see that with the camps that are still up, Blitzcrank still a jungler that really just wants to take single target camps. You can see that his Krugs, Raptors, and Wolves all still available. 5 camps that he's taken include the only single target camps that are up. Now gank!
Forward, not going to land. Timing good from Bocklund. Linkas is going to try to step forward, do as much damage in return, but it is, of course, not going to be a complete attempt at the jungler's life.
You can see Panda just sponging experience in the mid lane as well. Wants to get literally any experience that he can get that isn't from his single target camps. He's more than happy, and Lince is here more than happy to take those away. You don't want to take your Raptors? Fine, I'll have those for you.
And of course, that momentum is needed. You aptly described the synergies around the attack speed, the blitz, and with how it works with the ultimate. And if Panda can get that, of course, even an Akali will struggle to avoid getting taken out.
Yeah, I wonder what his build path is going to be, because we look at the runes, he's got a lethal tempo as that keystone, fully specking into the notion that he could be going for the likes of a Trinity Force or something like that, but there is a world where you continue to see a fairly tank-centric build and just kill people with your base damages. That is, you know, the core reasons for one of the core reasons why Blitzcrank has shot up in the jungle role is that he does now have that damage to take those 1v1s, even if you go in for something like the Frostfire Gauntlet. But you can see Colonel holding this mid wave in a pretty good spot, constantly threatening backland, meaning that he's got to hover to the side that his jungler was on and be a little bit careful. Has got the Shroud, has got the Shuriken flip, so shouldn't be too endangered. Say that as he uses one of them.
Almost half the team of Hydras has been in this bush with this control ward, trying to see if Buckland will make any kind of misstep, which they can latch onto, but it has not happened yet. Selfway spending a lot of time, but as long as Imperial is fine in the bot lane, he can do that with pretty good conscience. Here is the attempt, but it is not a fully committed one. Now Panda's here again for the second time.
Oh, they might catch Linces.
He spotted out. Knock up, let's see if they can engage on this jungler. He's of course gonna flash over the wall, but no hook to land. I didn't even see if that was cast beforehand.
You know what? That's still a good little deal. A little bait and switch right there. You see one support walk into the mid lane, you think surely this brush must be clear. No, not in fact the case. We have a second one ready to go. In fact, this one has taken smite and forces the flash out of you. So a really nice little move there from Hydras. We'll have to see if they can look to punish the Graves for not having that summoner spell. Of course, going to be fairly difficult if he sticks to that jungle and Linces continues on that farm route. But you are starting to see now, I will say a few of the drawbacks that the Blitzcrank jungle will fall into, and the fact that he's not actually clearing any of his jungle, has only taken 2 camps since we last touched on it, where Linces is now nearly doubling his farm. Of course, Drake, though, one of those single target camps that you can get away with taking, and when you've got the pressure from your bot lane to help you out, it's the first Drake of the game secured for Hydras once again.
And they did get that, as you said, last time too. Let's see if they can keep the prio up even longer this game. Last time they got to the first 2, and then they had to concede the rest. But that, of course, depends on the tempo of the game. At this point, it is not as aggressive and quick as we saw last time. Let's see now if the gank from Panda might be enough. A lot of damage happening before, and the Hex Flash is going to slow down the Blitz, especially when he can't get over the wall and get to kill their Linkas. The rest just have to run.
Yep, just a little bit too far forward there for Hydras. They think that they're going to have the read on the play, have a 2v3 with Panda moving in behind, but Linces was there just a little second beforehand. But not going to be used. A nice dash over the wall, and I don't think there's kill pressure top lane, but Kerberos certainly has the ability to proxy farm. We did see him take away the red buff as well from the top side of Hydra's jungle, so has a lot of dueling power. If you can start to chain any of those auto attacks together, Shida certainly in danger. And
this was the second or third wave Kerberos has already proxied. He is just locking Shida down and generating a natural goal lead, not through trading, but just through making it difficult for Shida to last hit. Selfway, step forward just to try to stop the back, but the re-attempt from the Voxna, and then they're gonna run down Imperial again. And Selfway can only be a little bit of a, he can just look by his mistake, killing his AD carry, I would say. Panda trying to find an angle in, but the wave is just going to make it so difficult.
It is quite hard. Just goes past, going to be happy to, I guess, sponge this experience under the turret. And I spoke to the Hydras coach before this series. Most Wanted gave me a little bit of the DL for the squad, and their team captain Imperial, having a pretty rough game thus far, has always been that morale booster, the person cheering them on. He's going to have to be giving some of that team spirit right now. 0-2 not having the greatest game, but needs to rally behind his team. 0-1 down in a best-of-3 series. Their chances in the Aurora open.
Sorry, I got to interrupt you, but Bucklund wants to win the 1v1 flash in for Selfway. Flash back to Colonel, and it's going back.
So many flashes!
Bucklund just has to try to survive. He can, of course, try to turn, but I don't think he will. But just the fact that he survives there, and the fact that Colonel does too, just speaks to how close it is, but Buckland is not done yet. Moon speed from W, making him able to dodge out of every single skill shot, and Buckland picks up the 1v1 or 1v2 kill, we could call it. But Panda is not done. Hook does not. It is just sidestep. And here comes Linkas. They want to get more. They're not giving Hydras a single moment of joy as they're chasing down the jungler too slow. Is making it so difficult for Panda to get out. And is it enough? Yes! Linkas gets that kill too. And now the goal lead has just become way too big.
Your Division 1 champions are flexing on the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Dusty with the 2v2 outplays in the mid lane, forcing the TP from Shida as well to stop this turret from falling. Rift Herald in the inventory for Linces meant that would have been such a large catapult of gold going in their favor. It's not a catapult, but it is still a very good slingshot for Dusty. That 2v2, it gives Kerberos time on the top side to be freely farming away. He's going to get this turret plate and potentially Colonel as well.
Yeah, he does want to try to proxy. This time it's going to be a full-on fight. Will he get punished for it? Ultimate use. And look at the damage he's doing with his passive. Still under turret. He cannot be contested with his third proxy. And yeah, but they're not done yet. Selfway tries to catch on. And that's a good ultimate. But do they have the damage to finish the job? I do think they do. Panda, can you hit this very important hook? You do not, as the spell shield has been kept so very, very patiently by the Voxna.
And you can just tell, the cooldowns that Voxna is using is always calculated. He knows, okay, this time I've got to, save my summoner spells for anything dangerous. I'm saving the spell shield for the Blitzcrank specifically. TP comes through, and it looks like that's going to warn off the dive from Barkland Colonel. TP's on down to stop that from coming through, and Hydras, they prevent a play, but this is not proactive from Hydras at all, and now
Buckland is just so confident. He's dancing around and he's alone versus 3 members, but he still wants to get it done. Gets 1, but Imperial's damage with the execute from Panda's ultimate does actually finally take down this very confident mid laner of Dusty.
And you can tell why he's been confident as well. Has been breaking ankles. Imperial now in trouble as well.
Yeah, he's just gonna get run down. Might not be enough damage. Yeah, Linkas execute, not completing the job because of the heal. Of course, Hydra has to get 3 members just to save him, to keep them there, and it's just getting more and more difficult for Hydras to find any avenue of approach, as they're just getting outstatted and outplayed at pretty much every avenue.
It feels like the beginning then of the end here for Hydras. Had such a good run. Up until this point, obviously the 3-3 group stage that they battled their way out of was a great start for the closed qualifier competitors. Not a good look for the 1 of 3. Of course, we have got the CEO, the corporate leader of one of the other 3 teams on our desk tonight. So Don Jake going to be looking to rectify any discrepancies between Hydras and Ruddy. Backland, no Shroud, but should be fine here.
Yeah, just going to step back. Of course, no mythic completed by any of the mid laners yet, but just the amount of pressure Buckland has created early within the Kali is terrifying. I am a little bit scared on behalf of Hydra how many heads he will be able to cut off during the team fights, because he is just seeming pretty much untouchable unless he makes himself a little bit too much of a juicy target.
I think that the one thing that Hydras can fall back on, that's unfortunate that boomerang hits Shida there. It reveals that there's a sneaky little lawn in that brush. But I think that the thing that we're looking for Hydras to rely on is going to be the Cassiopeia. Need to see if the late game damage from Colonel can happen, and they're continuing to stop these recalls. They might want to fight.
Shida, of course, spotted out. The ultimate is used. Where will he aim it? Towards no one. It would seem like the E also fails to knock anyone up, and the tank is now just left for dead. Re-engage from the Voxna, and the stand locks down every single member of Dusty. Buckland will fall, but they get everything else again, Dusty.
And in the side lane as well, Dusty come alive. It's Kerberos down bot lane, dominating in the side, but getting pushed, making sure there's no room for a maneuver from Colonel. Top side, it's all Dusty as well, and Colonel now in trouble again.
Yeah, this is a hard fight to win out. Of course, Conqueror is stacked, and the skill shots are dodged, so maybe there's a chance. The shield, of course, huge, but the last
nice.
It's just enough, and the health bar, single digits, are still digits to be had, and the Colonel at least wins a single 1v1 versus Kerberos.
There's life yet in Hydras. Touched on the fact that Cassiopeia is going to be that single win condition for the late game that Hydras have got. We knew that their composition was going to have to pivot to be exclusively about Colonel. And as he's pulling his weight in at the side lane, he needs the rest of the team to stop throwing away their lives on whatever side of the map they're going to. It's going to be a difficult road ahead for Hydras, but it's not without its own challenges.
Shida has been kept for about 1.5 minutes in the tri-bush, clearing out wards. And yeah, looks like they're trying to get another kill. Buckland, if you can survive this, I will be so impressed. 4 members are here. He's over the wall. The hook doesn't hit. Do I even need to be impressed? He's just been so slippery this entire game. And that's a lot of momentum lost. Of course, Linkas picking up the Herald and the rest of the team taking the mid turret as a little prize for Buckland's outplay.
It makes it look easy as well. Like, that didn't even look like it was close. He's still full HP, able to stay out on the map if he fancies, goes and catches that bot wave. Really good Akali play from Buckland this entire matchup. Yes, he's, 3 of the 4 deaths on the squad, but has always been sacrificial for better plays as Panda now caught.
Yeah, he does run out, but I gotta say, not many hooks have landed this game, but here comes the engage from Hydras. They have, of course, the AoE fight, and they get Stend and then Voxne. That is 2 good pickups, and I think they really needed that to stay in the game.
Yeah, they did, and I get a kill onto Colonel once again. Got to highlight this Cassio, the gold source that Hydras are going to have to try and funnel, and now back on 1v3.
No, you can't do that! No way you survive, Buckland. And they managed to finally CC chain him and get him down. Linkas, though, making sure that at least he's trying to get something in return, but has to be careful. Dodges the hook, that is the most important thing you do. And Kerberos is here, Ult Imperial is going to get that kill. Are they gonna get anything else? Herald is still not available, sorry, but he's just gonna run down Colonel to Linkas auto attack. Kerberos passive, it's all that's needed. And the fact that they take that fight, even though they lost Buckland, they lost Voxne, they lost Stend, 2 members seems to be enough for Dusty.
It's essentially, a 2v5 on the map at that point, and Kerberos and Lince still feel confident to not only take those kills on the carries, but also take away a second-tier turret in the mid lane. The map is opening up for Dusty. Ashida dashes forward, but I think Kerberos is fine.
I think he will be. Then Voxne and Stend has joined in. The healing just going to be too much. They're going to try to attempt to get Shida too, but just survives. Buys a little bit of time, Sideway, not going to find an engage from the flank. But Dusty already so far up, and that hook hits! Let's see if you can get out of this one, Buckland. Shroud is used, might get some Yumi help to get a heal, but no, I don't think Stend will risk it, and they do manage to grasp onto him again. It's 5 kills towards Buckland. His limit testing has started to punish Dusty just a little bit too much.
Yes, and you are seeing this miasma effect really start to pop off for Hydras. Colonel has constantly been putting that right beneath the feet of Buckland, and right there means that he can't shuriken flip away, can't find an escape from the dangerous situation he finds himself in. Now, even despite that, and the fact that the kill goes over to Hydras and they have an advantage on the map, they still don't feel confident in taking a fight around this dragon. They allow the first one of the oceans to go to Dusty. Now then Voxne fancies his chances against Selfway.
Doing so much damage, but Selfway going to re-engage. Nice knockback. Is the damage enough the way it is going to be? Unless, no, he has to flash after. You have to go down there. But it's still a not a 1k, it's 10k gold lead. Almost, that almost evened it out a little bit at least. But the Hydras, they're all now full throttle, it seems like. They need to make sure that the scaling and the gold lead of Dusty doesn't balloon anything more, because they cannot afford it.
And I think if we can just get a quick glimpse at the gold here as well, it is a lot in the jungle and top lane. 4k between those junglers, granted, only about 1500 between those tops, which is pretty much on parity for the majority of the lanes. And this Blitzcrank not quite having the effect that you would maybe hope for. Yes, as a very pick-oriented champion, hasn't done the worst so far. 5 out of 9 kills isn't obviously a bad percentage. But Linces is just so much more powerful as an individual that Dusty have so much more maneuverability out on the map. And they've got way more tools for their Yumi to be pigeonholed onto. You can put Stend onto Den Voxne if you want a late game carry. You can put it onto Linces or Backland if they want to go diving into the backline. The options that we see for Dusty are just so true, so high. A little bated breath right there as he may find an engage.
Yeah, they're going to engage here. Kerberos on the flank. It's the most dangerous thing you can see in this matchup. And Selfway and Colonel are just so stuck. Ultimate trying to turn it on to the Vox, and he succeeds, and he does stay alive. Kerberos, of course, still full HP, but if the damage come out from Colonel, then maybe there's a chance for Hydras. He's sidestepping so much, but Kerberos' AoE is also too much as he picks up the triple kill. He's gonna take the quadra. There's not a fifth to take, but Kerberos takes what he can get.
Absolute domination from the top lane for Dusty, and Kerberos steps up again. Another team fight that goes his way. The Cassiopeia have been the biggest threat on the entirety of Hydras. Kerberos says, no issue. I will take them into the Death Realm, slam them down, and pick up the other 3 members as well. Imperial died off in the side lane. That was Backlund making the most of the Akali side lane presence before the fight had even erupted in that mid lane. And now it is just Dusty dotting their I's, crossing the T's. 12k gold in the lead before the 20-minute mark had even hit. They are feeling very, very good about this game.
You can probably expect a little bit more of limit testing this game from Dusty, but always have to tread carefully. We do see attempts from Hydras that had some merit. A lot in the previous game, some in this, but it's getting more and more difficult for even the best of play to turn good when the gold and yeah, especially this Mordekaiser just seems to be unkillable.
Yeah, and with the Yuumi on top as well, I don't really see a way that Kerberos ever dies. That's just the sad reality of it. He's working toward that force of nature as well, recognizing that the only real damage that is coming out of Hydras right now is that Cassiopeia. So it just makes the life of the Hydras team so very difficult. Dusty have pretty much choked out this top side. You can see 3 members of Hydras are around, so they have a little bit of vision lurking about the place. But it doesn't really matter. Dusty, they're so far ahead that even on vision, off vision, they can force this Baron and just look for a fight regardless.
They can, of course. This is the single kind of chance you have when you're this far behind. They were close. Baron on 3k, 2k. Panda's going to try to Hexfetch over, but he is stopped on the way. Baron is taken by Hydra, but how? I mean by Dusty, but how does the fight go? Imperial does take down the Voxne. That's a lot of damage. Buckland trying to dance in the backline, but has taken down the AD carry in return. But he's going to get clapped on. Good ultimate, but he cannot get chased down. And the issue though, the issue of course is Kerberos. It's always going to be Kerberos as they run down the rest of Dusty. All 5 members down. Buckland redeems his previous limit testing and gets a couple of kills himself. And the mid lane is open for at least an inhibitor. I don't think they will go for the complete end, but even that fight didn't go Hydras' way. No, I don't know if the next one can either.
It's just the snowball is far too far down the hill at this point. It's absolutely merciless from Dusty, to be honest. They lost Voxne in that fight. It's just one sacrificial sliver for the power of Backlund, Kerberos, Linus, all to be able to free fire the duration of that fight. 8-1-1 at Kerberos from the top lane. Force of Nature now finished, is working his way towards another tanky item, that Kindle Gem in the inventory. It's the same story over and over, and Hydras, they had no way into the pit for Panda, the flash down, and instantly, we saw Kerberos at the start of that engagement, instantly engage bot lane.
Yeah, trying to win out another 1v1, entirety of Hydras coming. That stun is just connecting, and so Colonel does survive with a sliver of health, with that help he got. But let's see what Dusty gets on the other side. They're trying to run down Jedi. He's taking so much damage. He's getting rooted down. I do think... no, he actually does survive. Linkat doesn't have the entirety of the damage when Panda gets close. But of course, they're going to push down inhibitors. They have so much pressure in terms of waves. They do catch on to Linkas though, and he is a lot of the damage when the mid laner is dead. But in the front, we do see Kerberos tanking, buying a lot of time. Ultimate from Jeda doesn't really do it as he is in the death realm. Going to be taken down most likely by Kerberos, but no, he does actually manage to run. Maybe that was self-way, but Jeda, yeah, he's trying to save Colonel and Panda so they can try to get the side lane fight. But yeah, the factors do not go in Hydras' favor. They are getting run down. Teleport in from Buckland, trying to burst down the tanky Ornn. He has to go defensive, as yeah, he has maybe overstepped a little bit again, but he does survive, and they have to try to defend the Nexus turrets, of course. Jedan, oh yeah, he doesn't do enough damage onto Buckland, so he's just being a little bit rude, to be completely frank. And Dusty, and now they're just padding their KDA a bit, running down the Nexus turret. It's a 1-for-1, then Voxen goes down again, but he hasn't tried to be unkillable this game, to be completely honest. And yeah, that Kerberos does go down, 1000 gold shutdown. The Nexus is completely vulnerable, but there are only a few members left from Dusty. Do they wish to end right here, right now? Doesn't seem like it. They step back, but then...
I think the minions do.
Oh, do they? It's so close! The Nexus is so low! How is it not down yet? But the Selfway, you go down, and you have to defend versus 3 members of Dusty and a Nexus that Blinkas just can't bear to stand see alive anymore. GG, Dusty wins 2-0 in a dominant game number 2.
A little bit of playing with their food there at the end, padding the stats, padding the KDA. You love to see it. Dusty showing us that not all of the EU Masters reps from NLC have lost their glow, looking absolutely phenomenal in that series. Came in as the favourites and showed us exactly why.
Yeah, seemed so strong game number 2, even though Hydras had some moments in game 1. It just seemed like they adapted so well. They knew that, yeah, of course, Hydras is going to be an all-in team. They're going to try to push us to our heels, but they put on some better shoots game number 2, Dusty, and they didn't seem to waver for even a moment.
No, it was very difficult, and they sort of recognized as well where the true damage was going to be coming from if that Casio never gets rolling. And I'll say it, Backlund, tried to give a little bit over to that Casio, tried to give them a little bit of a stepping stone, but it just wasn't enough. I think that what Backlund gave, Hydras gave way more over to Kerberos in that instance. So a lot to be said for the top lane of Dusty, certainly performing out of their mind today.
And I think we will need the analyst desk to have the eulogy for Hydras. They did have a great performance, but of course want to hear what they have to say. Thank you for having us. We'll see you later. Over to the desk.